Où les explosions ont retenti. Mais quand même, oui. Où les explosions ont retenti. Mais quand même, oui.
Oh bâtard. Un blessé à terre. Blessé à terre. Oh là 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 là. Oh là là. J'en recule, j'en recule. J'en recule. On avance vers le stade. Allez messieurs, arrêtez de fumer, reculez. Sors devant le stade, sors devant le stade.
Chaos in Paris Friday night as terrorists storm public spaces, detonate bombs, and open fire. The head of France's police force announcing overnight all 8 perpetrators of the attack are believed to be dead, 7 of them killed after detonating suicide vests. In all, well over 100 people were killed. The attacks carried out at 6 locations around the French capital, the worst carnage at a concert hall hosting the American rock band Eagles of Death Metal. Scores of people taken hostage, the terrorists hurling explosives at their captors. At least 100 people were killed there.
Basically, it's just a horror scene. There's people injured, there's blood, and I've just never seen anything like that, especially in Paris.
In addition to the theater, a number of restaurants and other public spots were hit, and at least 3 people were killed when bombs went off outside a stadium during a soccer match. The blast heard over cheers of the crowd. France's president, François Hollande, was at the match and was taken to safety as the arena was put on lockdown. Hollande has declared a state of emergency in France, imposing security checkpoints at its normally open borders. President Obama offered his condolences and support from Washington.
We're going to do whatever it takes to work with the French people and with nations around the world to bring these terrorists to justice.
So far, there has been no claim of responsibility for the attack and no clear picture of how many were involved. Christopher Fourier, Associated Press.
Où les explosions ont retenti.
For about 20 minutes into the match, I heard a very loud bang outside the stadium. no one really knew what it was. 3 minutes later there was another bang, which was just as loud. That became rather worrying, and then news started filtering in. There had been explosions near a brasserie outside the stadium, and then more news started coming in of the attacks in Paris. There was up to about 2,000 people standing on the field. They were then told a few minutes later that it was safe to leave, but they were clearly reluctant to do so, unsurprisingly considering, what the situation is outside. The only thing the stadium announcer said at the end was, due to events outside, we inform you that you need to use these gates to exit. His second announcement was, please stay calm, everything's safe, it's safe to use public transport, and he reassured them that this was the case. The impression I got was that people didn't necessarily think it was an explosion from a bomb. They just thought it was like pyrotechnics or something, but there wasn't a feeling of panic. The atmosphere was almost normal. I mean, towards the end, I think people started realizing what was happening, because people obviously getting information on their phone.
Talk us through, you were telling me before that this attack essentially from the beginning bore all the hallmarks of the Islamic State organization.
Yes, of course, because since the beginning of the attacks, it was clear that those attacks were at first hand random, so there was no human target, if I may say so, like the attacks that were made by the Kouachi brothers on behalf of ACPA against the cartoonists of Charlie Hebdo.
We were talking about that before. Those attacks back in January, they were very much targeted on journalists and Jewish people.
Exactly.
This wasn't the case this time.
This wasn't the case. No, but you have to make the difference also, because when you talk about the attacks against Jewish people, it was Koulibaly. And Koulibaly was a lone wolf. He was a friend of the Kouachi brothers, but he acted in the name of the Islamic State, which was the thing that was never really claimed by the Islamic State. So what's different here today is the modus operandi, the paramilitary modus operandi, the organization. We are talking about 8 people, heavily armed, with the explosive belts, and of course what came out like a few hours ago, the official claim, the first official claim of an attack here in France and even in Europe by the Islamic State. This is the big difference today. This is something that was monitored and claimed after by the Islamic State. This is no lone wolf attack operation, because if till this time they were able to motivate some people to act in their name without claiming the action after, and knowing that all the actions were mostly failures in France or in Europe, today we are witnessing something really, really professional, and which puts us on another one step beyond in this fight or in this war with this Islamic State.
Now, there have been questions whether or not there could be more gunmen, but one thing that I noted in the Islamic State statement was that they themselves said that 8 gunmen were involved in this, or eight men were attackers were involved in this. So it seems as if they're saying 8 people. That's yes, where we draw the line.
Usually we can take what they claim seriously. They already proved it many times. But we should also remember that for 8 people to act this way, they have a logistical support behind them, which is at least more 8 people. So people help them to get armed, to have safe houses, to be able to rent a car, to move, and to do what they did. So of course there's many people behind them. One more time, we're not talking about a lone wolf attack. And those people who acted and who helped them could act by themselves, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe later. So this will be cleared by the investigation. But we are really here for the first time talking about an organized net of this Islamic State here in Europe and in France.
Rien à voir, messieurs. Messieurs, dames, excusez-moi, je vous demander de faire de...
Dis-moi, est-ce que t'as posé
PS de Poissy, VSAV de Ménil et un autre VSAV. J'ai environ...
Je sais, mais il faut bouger la voiture. Je sais, mais il faut bouger la voiture.
Je suis venu par là.
Ouais, mais on ferme tout là.